You're looking at the president and the vice president of the fan club for Scott Larson. Hold on to your pencils with all your questions. You're about to watch the Hashtag Truth with Scott Larson. Don't miss a minute.
Watch it all fall down around you now. Was it ever really worth it? Having your kingdom crumble to the ground because you never had the courage. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up.
Okay, guys, it's coming up April the 2nd, right here in Spartanburg or Bowling Springs, South Carolina. Come on down. If you ever been in American Pro Wrestling ring, come down and be a part of our big historic reunion show coming April the 2nd. April Fools from the 1st can come also, but you know, I'm talking guys like Stone Mountain, Boomer Payne, Shane Austin. I'm talking guys like Ken Magnum, Dirty, some of the guys you've seen for years, Elite, the guys that come in, the guys that's been with us through the years. I'm going to tell you right now, and if you want to know what American Pro Wrestling means to me, it's guys like I just named. There's Elite, there's Thunder, there's Timmy Anton. There's guys that's been part of my family for, Lord, 30 years. And now I'm actually wrestling with and training some of the sons of the vets that come through American Pro Wrestling. You know who you are. If I like you or don't like you, you're still welcome. Come on down. It's one time in a lifetime we all gonna get together. Chief J Eagle's getting gold. Not that I couldn't kick none of his ass, but come on down and find out. See your friends one last time before you go to the Boogeyman, and come see all your friends right here. 122 Builders Court, Bowling Springs, South Carolina. Hey, Chief, like to look at you. Come on down. I don't mind telling you if you're still ugly.
Okay, well, let's get the black off the screen. There you go, Chief J Eagle, man. He is a riot. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Truth. I am here with the one, the only Chris Thunder Anderson tonight, and we're going to be talking about Chief J Eagle and that great reunion show. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. So tomorrow night is finally the night. We have finally made it. It has arrived. Are you looking forward to this?
We are. If we live through it, it'll be a miracle. We've really kind of stressed over this a little bit. Just to give you a little background on how it got started, I guess. I know you kind of know, but just so everybody kind of knows, back in January, my wife Missy and my oldest son Dylan went round 2 with the COVID, and while they were sick and laid up, they started watching some of the old YouTube APW videos that's been put up by several people that put them up. Chief's one, Nick Fury puts them up, several guys. But anyway, they got to watching some of that old stuff. Some of the Shamrock video stuff are on there, and all the Chesney stuff is on there eventually, but there's tons of it. And I think Dylan made the comment, you know, Mom, some of these guys I know and I remember and I've seen, but there's a lot of these guys that I'd really like to meet, you know. And so that's kind of how it got started. They got to talking back and forth, and I came home one day and Missy said, "Hey, what do you think about getting up with Chief and kind of trying to do a reunion show?" So we talked to him, and he gave us the blessing and said, "Yeah, let's put it together." So Missy's really kind of spearheaded trying to contact some of the older guys and old guys and just kind of reach out and see who was willing and wanted to and that kind of thing. So that's kind of how it got started. And it's just really been a process, but we're looking forward to it, man. We're excited. Can't wait to see some of the guys I hadn't seen in a long time. Going to be there'll definitely be some lies told and some stories told for sure.
Let's go ahead and show the poster. Let's go ahead and put this up and do our thing. April 2nd, which is tomorrow night. Tickets are $10 at the door. Doors open at 7. Bell time is 8 o'clock. It's at 122 Builders Court in Boiling Springs. American Pro Wrestling presents American Pro Wrestling reunion show. It's going to be Chris Thunder Anderson, Stone Mountain, Chief Jay Eagle. The Juvenile Delinquents are going to be there. Boomer Payne, Ricky Rocket, Steve Stasiak, Eric Anton, and many, many others from past and present. Dump Truck's going to be there, I'm pretty sure. There's going to be a whole plethora of entertainers from throughout Chief Jay Eagle's organization, and trust me, there are many of them.
That's true. That's true. A lot of the guys that's currently there, they're going to be there as well. So it's just going to be a mixture. It's not going to be just the old guys and just the young guys. It's going to be a mixture of some things. Some special matches will be going on. Legend matches, pretty much, is I guess that's what we're calling them nowadays because we're all old. Or some of them guys are old. I refuse to be old. So
I've been on here 5 minutes, sir, and already Missy's corrected me. She said the doors are going to open at 6 to see everyone and interview. So there's going to be, you can come and see the wrestlers, and of course us podcasters will be there interviewing folks without a doubt.
Right. It's not really a meet and greet, but I guess if you get there early enough, you can meet some of those guys. So that's kind of how it's set up. So.
And hashtag Truth is going to be there. I will be there on Saturday. So without a doubt, and this will be my first time ever at Chief Jay Eagles. So it's going to be a good time out there. I know it. He's right in my backyard. I should have been there, a lot more, but I everybody knows where my alliance is. I'm not going to, hide it or anything. I'm an HWA guy. So, I have been getting around, though. I have been going to other shows. I just went to Pro Wrestling Union and others. So, Chief, I am on the way. If you're watching, I'm pretty sure you are because Missy tagged you in it. I am coming, and I will be interviewing some of the wrestlers tomorrow night without a doubt and putting them up on hashtag Truth. So, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be fun.
Deal, man, because you won't be disappointed. That's for sure. I'm looking. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it, man. I've been counting the days. I'm pretty excited myself, and I don't get excited about a whole lot.
Right. Well, everybody's telling me, I've talked to a few people about some of the wrestlers that are going to show up behind the scenes. And the one wrestler I really want to meet is Stone Mountain. Everybody tells me this is a brick house of a man. He is a huge guy.
I've not seen Stone in probably 15, 16 years, I guess. But I got a Stone Mountain story. He's a great guy. Love Stoney to death. Like I said, I hadn't seen him in a long time. When I first met him, one of the first times I was ever really around him, Chief was running Shamrock, and me and Blade were new, kind of, down there, and we'd been there several times. But anyway, did a battle royal. Okay. And Chief came to us and he said, Thunder, I want to come down to you and Stone Mountain. And I'm like, okay. So I'm a big jacked up young kid in the business thinking I can do whatever I want to do.
Right.
So no big deal. So I go to Stone and I say, Stone, I'm going to body slam you tonight in this battle royal. He said, okay. Well, Stone's 6'9", 300 and some odd pounds. Of course, I was 255 back then and, a gym rat. So he'd probably kill me now.
Right.
But anyway, so we get to the battle royal. It comes down to me and Stone. I'm hammering on Stone. Work him out in the middle. I pick him up, slam him. No problem. Turn around, like, yeah, I got this. I turn around, the son of a gun standing up. He grabs me in the throat and double choke slams me. The old sit-out choke slam that he did and Prince Albert did and all them.
Right.
He slams me and then picks me up, tosses me out like I'm a rag doll. So, but like I said, I've watched Stone work, man. He's traveled. He's worked for, WWF or E, whatever you want to call it. Worked for WCW. He worked for the NWA. He was the national champion for NWA down in Georgia. Super nice guy, heck of a talent. He's a cop now, so heaven forbid if you break the law.
Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine seeing a 300-pound brick house cop walking up to you? She remembers that match that you're talking about. Ron Emerson. There you go. Ron Emerson of the Wrestling Wire is here on hashtag Truth. You guys got to go check out his podcast. He said, "What's up, Scott?" And Chris Thunder Anderson is that locker room leader and ring general. Always an honor to speak with Thunder. Yes, it is, without a doubt.
Thank you. Wasn't always the case.
Cole McAbee said, "Hey, Scott. Hello, Mr. Thunder Anderson."
Oh, Cole.
And Alexander Polk. What's up, guy? Alex is in a bad mood. They're changing the Chiefs' name. Hey, don't talk to me about somebody having their favorite team's name changed. But anyway, back to the wrestling.
That's the goofiest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry, man.
That's
the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I totally agree. I mean,
but if that's how it's going to be, then I think the Miami Dolphins, the Penguins, and anybody that has an animal for their mascot has to. That's offensive to me. So change your name.
That's going to be next. The WWF is going to go, oh my gosh, and I'm not talking about the World Wrestling Federation. I'm talking about the World Wildlife Federation.
Right.
It's going to go and change all the animal names because they're degrading the animals.
If you'll go back and watch, I forget which Hall of Fame it is, but it was when Bobby Heenan went into the Hall of Fame, and he kind of hit that a little bit, and they bleeped it because he said WWF, and they bleeped it, and he said, "Now wait a minute." He said, "I'm gonna tell you something." He said, "When I first came here," he said, "there was a guy with a dog, a guy with a lizard, a guy with a snake, a guy with some kind of dragon," and he went through all this stuff. He's like, and if you've ever spent a weekend with Alpha and Sika, that's wildlife. So, whatever, man. People just offended all the time about something.
Speaking of Dump Truck is in the house. Lots of respect for Mr. Anderson. I know that's what he meant. He said me, Anderson, but I know he meant Mr. Anderson.
He wishes he was Anderson. I like Truck. I enjoy working with him. Everybody kind of gives him a hard time. But I like working with Truck. He's a lot of fun. Oh, and last time I got to work with him, everybody was like, "Oh, man, it's going to be a match. It's going to be this. It's going to be this." And Truck looked at him and he said, "Boys, I got a night off." And they were like, "What?" And he said, "I'm working with Thunder. I got it made." And I was like, "Yeah, you got it made. I'm the one that's got to work hard." Love Truck. Love it.
Truck is a mess, man. Truck is a mess. Jamal said, "I don't know if you remember me, but I was there at APW. That is how I got my wrestling license. You do remember having a part of my training. I work for AWS." Jamal Anderson. He has the same last name. Oh, my God. Thomas Scott said, "What's up?" And Chris?
What's up, dude?
Shane said, "Always had a good time working at APW." Shane Nichols. Art Long, Father Darkness. I'm sorry, I will call you by your right name. I love Thunder, but tomorrow's APW reunion show. You never know who will be there. That's it. That's basically the marketing. You don't know who's going to be there. We know some of them, but you never know.
That's true. There's a lot of guys that's contacted us, said they couldn't make it, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of guys that, like I said, I've not seen in years that are coming. So, right. A lot of the guys that's on the poster, of course, are coming. I'm trying to think. I know Chad Cole will be there. Bobby Diamond's going to be there. So the New Age Freebirds will be there in some form or fashion. I think Cruise Control is coming back. They're not going to wrestle, but they're going to be there. Dave and Donovan Cruz. I love those guys. They made me and Blade look like the monsters that we always thought we were. But they really cemented what we were. We had some lovely matches with those guys, not just at APW, but a lot of places. Let's see who else is going to be there. I think Scotty Piper's coming.
I hear when you tell all these stories and you say all this stuff. Do you know what I hear? I hear this is going to be a podcaster's dream when I walk into that building, because there's going to be so many people there, and I'm going to hear so many stories, and I'm going to get to interview and hear these stories. And as a fan, I'm marking out. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm marking out because I get to hear, Jay Eagle. Some people like him. He'll tell you himself. Some people like him. Some people don't like him. But there's one thing that you cannot say about Jay Eagle. He has ran a consistent weekly show for well over 20 years.
Oh, up and closer to 40, Scott.
Closer to 40. Okay, 40. I even underestimated him. Closer to 40 years. Could you imagine sitting down? And I want to do this because I had Chief J. Eagle on the show a few weeks ago, and he was telling me about these books that he has with all this stuff. I want to sit down in his house and do a hashtag truth and just listen. I'll just put the mic in front of his face and let him go because I know Chief can talk. Chief's a good talker. I'll just sit the mic in front of Chief and let him go, and I would be amazed. I'll sit there for 3-4 hours and listen to Chief tell stories.
Chief actually had his books that he's talking about with him one week, and I was there, and I got to just kind of flip through. I didn't go through them like I wanted to, but I got to go through them. Man, there's a lot of history in those books, man. A lot of history in those books.
Wanda said I'm going to be meeting the best of the best tomorrow night. All right, I got you. I like it. I like it. Hey, how you doing, Julie? Welcome to Hashtag Truth. Cole said Scotty Piper is great.
Yeah. Scotty was one of the better talkers that ever came through there as well. You could put a microphone in his hand and turn him loose.
Oh, my goodness. Alexander, you're late to the show, man. You're always late. What's up with that? The show is going to be at 122 Builders Court in Boiling Springs. Doors open at 6, I've been told now. The poster says 7. I was misinformed. 6. And the show will start at 8, I believe.
I think the 6 o'clock thing just got added a week or so ago.
Right.
Because we had so much kind of surrounding everything that we went ahead
There's
and
so many people that's going to be there that it's basically they added an hour for a meet and greet if people want to show up and see some of the wrestlers before the actual event, which is cool for the fans. And like I said, it's a podcaster's dream. I can't wait. I'm slobbering. I won't do it on air, but I'm literally slobbering, waiting to go there because that's going to be awesome. Look at everybody's. Tons of history in those books. I bet there is, man. And that's what I'm looking forward to by going there is going and you know, Chris Thunder Anderson. I've sat with you many times with you and your family, and you've told me story after story, and I'm always right there with my ears pinned up because I love that stuff. That's what Hashtag Truth is all about, is wrestlers coming on, telling their stories, what happened, you know. And I've never had Chief J. Eagle on, and when he came on, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Chief is a one of a kind guy. That is one thing I will say. He is cut from a different cloth.
That's for sure. And he's a natural born storyteller. So anytime he gets a chance to talk, it always winds up as a story of some kind.
Without a doubt, man. We got people over here just screaming over here in the comments, man. Jamal said, I can't wait to see you again, Mr. Anderson. My name is Jamal Anderson, but you can call me J-Rock. Okay, J-Rock, thank you. Missy said Shane Hugh, I want to say. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Jeff Blackwell, I miss seeing you guys, I think he meant to say.
All right, so I'm going to stop you right there. Since
Okay.
you said that, because I saw it pop up a while ago, and I thought that was what it said, because my eyes ain't too good because this small print bothers me. Jeff Blackwell is Dash Whiprock.
Okay.
Dash is one of the better managers, or one of the best managers that probably ever came through APW. I love Dash dearly. We've traveled together. We've worked with each other. We've worked against each other. Dash is a trip. When he managed the Power Crew back in Chesney, which was Bubba Brooks and Steve Stasiak, he wore yellow shoes and he had yellow wrestling boots. And those were a gift from him, or to him, from Hulk Hogan, because he was Hogan's favorite manager. So Hogan sent him a pair of boots. And Dash, I know you're listening. I know you're watching. I'm telling this story because nobody else will believe me if I tell it, so you can tell it too. It's your lie. I'm just backing you up.
Oh my gosh.
Dash.
Art Long said tomorrow night will be the indie wrestling WrestleMania. I couldn't agree more. That's
It'll
a
be
great.
very close to that. Yes, sir.
Yes. Thomas Scott said I was a free bird also. Well, nobody remembers you, Thomas Scott. I love you, man. You know that.
I'll let you say that instead of me, Scott. How's that?
Shane said Dash was funny. Okay.
I mean, he's a hoot. I've known Dizzy for a long time as well.
Right.
And yeah, he was a free bird. And I got to rib him a little bit too. He was the free bird. He's kind of like Jimmy Garvin. He joined late and didn't last long.
We'll have to start calling him Jimmy Garvin. That's cool. I like that. Father Darkness was he's going to have an argument with you. Father Darkness was the greatest wrestling manager ever in APW.
Yeah. I'm sure Art ranks right up there, great in his own mind anyway. So, I watched Art. I've worked with Art as well. We kind of wasn't in APW at the same time. We overlapped a little, because I think he was more when Chief was in Spartanburg and on Whitney Road versus Chesney. Because I was through Chesney from day one all the way through when he closed the doors of Chesney, and he moved to Spartanburg. So, but because he ran on Friday nights then, and then he moved to Saturday nights when he moved to Spartanburg. So we overlapped a little bit, but and I mean I give everybody a hard time, but in truth, Art was one of the good guys that come through there too. He did his job and he did it well.
Now, I know you've told this like probably 3 or 4 times on my show, but again, tell me how you got started in professional wrestling. How did you get started in APW?
All right, so one of the guys that helped train me, Mickey Richards, asked me and Blade one day. He said, "Are y'all interested in going down to South Carolina and working?" So we were like, "Sure," So he said, "Well, I'll tell you what." He said, "I'll take it down." Excuse me, getting over allergies. He said, "I'll take it down. You can meet Jay, and talk to him and see, if you're interested, and he's interested in using you." He said, "But you have to have your license." So we were like, "Okay." We didn't know what that meant, but all right. So we go to Spartanburg, and we go to the show that they were at. And it was kind of a different show. It wasn't at Chief's building in Shamrock. It was somewhere else. But met Chief, and he was kind of over the top to us. It was this first guy we'd ever really met, first promoter, real promoter, I'll say, that we ever really met. But he talked to us. He said, "Y'all got your big guys." He said, "Yeah, come on down." And so he gave us license applications. Fill these out, get your license, and then come down when you get them back. So me and Blade did that. So we got to come down and work. And first match we ever had at APW was with Mickey Richards and his partner that he had then, Shane Austin. Okay. I forget. They were blonde something. I forget what it was. And the something blondes, I forget. But anyway, so again, me and Mark's green. We don't know. We've been in the business maybe a year and a half at this point, the two of us. So we're down there. Well, long story short, we get in the ring. Everything that we talked about changed 3 different times before we ever got in the ring, maybe more than that. We get in the ring. We don't, here we are. We're 6'2" guys, 245, 255 pounds apiece. We're in there with Mickey Richards, who's 5'8", 200 pounds, and Shane, who's about the same height, but maybe a buck and a half. They get all their stuff. They do all the stuff to us. And then we go home and they beat us. We didn't do anything. So as green guys are, and guys that don't get a spot get, even today, we were hot. We were mad. Well, Mickey just kind of disappeared on us. Shane did too. So we didn't get to see him after really the match was over. Okay. It was about 3 weeks before Mickey Richards was even coming around me and Mark, because we were still training at the time too. Right. So it was 3 or 4 weeks before Mickey would ever come around us. And he was finally like, "I'm sorry guys for what happened. It wasn't me." And we were like, "We know it ain't you, but it'll never happen again." So when we got the opportunity to go back to Chiefs, we established who we were then. And from then on, it didn't matter. We got our stuff. And that's just kind of how we got it going. And
that just goes to show when you're green, if you keep working hard, you'll earn the respect of your peers.
You will, and that's what we did. When we got tried. There was another team that happened. It happened probably about a month or so after we had started working down there pretty regular. They came in, and one of them, me, and one of those guys had actually had a TV match the week before when Chief was doing TV,
right,
out of Hickory, and great match, wonderful. Got her stuff, everything looked good, and they were big guys too. So we were looking forward. So the Chiefs told us the next week y'all going to tag and we'll work a match. So we're like, okay, cool. So we show up, and for whatever reason, they didn't want to sell for us. So we in turn didn't sell for them until it got real. And then it got real, and then it was a fight. It was about a 10 or 15-minute tag team fight. And Jamie Tucker, God love Jamie, one of the last matches he actually reffed before he got his job in WCW, spent a lot of time on the top rope trying to just get out of the way. And it was bad. And I had told this story a couple times to my wife and several other people. But the other night, Danny Paris had called us about the show. We were talking out some details, and Danny brought this up. And my wife looked at me and she said, "Let's see if Danny's version is the same as yours." And Danny's was actually like, "Oh my God, they tore each other apart." And then Danny went as far as to say, when the match was over, Chris and Mark, or Blade and Thunder, are sitting in the back, and these guys come to try to jump on them in the back. And here we go, almost a fight in the dressing room with these four guys. So
we went from a wrestling match to a shoot match to a fight almost in the locker room. Wow.
And believe it or not, don't know what happened really, other than, like I said, it was just they wouldn't sell for us, so we quit selling for them. Don't know what happened to them, but I've not seen either one of those guys since then, and that's been 24 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that.
Wow. And we're not going to get off into a tangent. We're going to keep it onto the show, but I have to say this, and that's kind of what's going on today. A lot of kids don't want to sell. They get these big moves put on them, and they pop right back up. 10 seconds later, they're not rubbing anything. They're not limping. They're not doing anything to show that somebody could do a brain buster, and they'll never rub their head one time. It's like, what?
And it's sad that it's that way, but a lot of guys don't get that's part of the storytelling that you're doing. Is if you're selling that body part, like you was talking about, if you're selling that body part, you're going to get more sympathy from the crowd. They're going to get behind you just that much more if they like it. And that's the name of the game, is getting those folks in that crowd involved, because they're not just paying their money to come in there and just watch wrestling. They want to get, it's like you always say, they want to get invested. They want to back the good guys, and they want to boo the bad guys. At the end of the day, that's wrestling. That's what it's about.
Right.
And there's so many folks nowadays that's got lost in translation. Worked with a young tag team not too long ago, and you know who I'm talking about because you've heard me tell this story. Worked with them, and I told them, they were working with me and Cruiser. Right. And I told them, I said, "This is how it's going to go, boys." I said, "We're going to beat the soap out of you, and you're going to sell until the end. And then when you make the hot tag, they're going to love you so much that it's going to mean something when y'all make the tag. And then, and then we're going to pull the rug out from under you and beat you."
Right.
And they looked at us like, "Yeah, right." When the match was over, we got in the dressing room, and those guys looked at us and said, "Oh my God, we don't believe the reaction we got." The very next week, I worked the exact same tag team. I just had a different partner. And I told them the exact same thing. I said, "We're going to go back and we're going to do this match again, just in a different town with a different partner, but we're going to do the same thing." And it was the exact same reaction. Guys can discount what I say to them all they want to, and that's fine.
The story
you ain't gotta always listen to what somebody tells you, but there's a little bit of truth in all of it.
Yeah, telling stories in the ring is what us. I say I call myself an old timer. I'll be 51 next week. When I started watching wrestling, that's where the stories came from. Was in the ring. you didn't have, all this, all these social medias to do whatever you're going to do with, or to mark your brand or whatever. You had to actually tell the story on the TV tapings in the ring, or if you're an indie show, you had to actually do it in the ring, and word of mouth and passing out posters got the fans to come. You know what I'm saying? And
how much sympathy did Wahoo McDaniel? Let's put it this way: when Abdullah jumped Wahoo and took the spike or straw or whatever it was and jabbed through his eye on TV on Saturday morning, if Wahoo would have got up, wiped his blood off, and said, "Oh, I'm good," do you think that when Wahoo and Abdullah wrestled at a house show and people paid to see that match, if anybody would have spent their money watching it going, he's all right? No, everybody felt sorry for Wahoo because this 400-pound madman from Sudan tried to poke his eyes out with this wooden spike or whatever it was. And we got to go see Wahoo come back from this and beat this guy to death.
Yep.
That's storytelling. I remember watching that, when I was little on TV and just freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's trying to kill Wahoo McDaniel. So,
I cannot about life of me who he was wrestling, but that reminds me of I'm thinking of the WWE star. My mind just went blank. The little guy that Rey Mysterio. There you go, Rey Mysterio. Back about probably 5, 6, might even be more than that. Might be 10 years ago during one of the WrestleManias. Somebody was beating up Rey Mysterio. I mean, beating him to a pulp every week, all the way to WrestleMania, and he wins the championship at WrestleMania with the comeback. And I mean, there wasn't a person in that whole stadium that wasn't standing and cheer. I mean, you could have probably heard that stadium 5 miles away. I mean, that's storytelling. You know what? Yeah. When the little guy's getting beat, getting sympathy, and he'd pull off a win, but it was kind of conniving, even for a baby. And then he couldn't do it the right way, and he finally at WrestleMania gets the win. And you could hear that stadium probably from 5 miles away.
Go back and look at some of those big, like you was talking about the storylines when Jake Roberts got blinded by Rick Martel. When Steamboat got his throat crushed by Randy Savage, when Earthquake set on Hogan, when Roddy Piper got his ear busted up by Greg Valentine, when Valentine broke Wahoo's leg, that's classic. All of those situations, that crowd, man, that's what drew them in the building was those big payoff stuff. And that's what guys don't realize. A lot of guys don't realize now. Some do. Some get it. Some are willing to learn. But at the same time, you've got to have that investment to get those people in. There's a lot of people now, I'm this and I'm this, and you kind of want to look at them. And I've said this to a couple of promoters, and I've said this to a lot of guys. It ain't about what you can do. It's about what you can bring in. And I ain't trying to down nobody as far as getting paid because we all want to get paid.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that amazes me, and I don't mean to cut you off, Chris, but one thing, fan, and I scream this to the heavens, and anybody who's ever watched my show will tell you the truth. Why don't people promo anymore, bro? I want to know what your character's about. I want to know who you are. Do a promo show.
Promos it's a lost art. I know a buddy of mine, Scotty Black, has told me when he first started, and he was friends with Buddy Landale. Traveled with Buddy, drove Buddy a lot. They worked a lot of the same circles around Tennessee and Western North Carolina. I got to meet Buddy, work with Buddy, love Buddy. But Buddy told him, he said, if you want to learn to talk in wrestling, he said, get you a hairbrush and stand in front of your bathroom mirror and cut promos on everybody till you get to where you don't, you know what you're talking about. I tell, and every once in a while, just to kind of let things go here at the house, my kids, they'll be like, Daddy, we're going to cut promos tonight. And my kids will stand in the living room floor with one of their play fake microphones. My youngest son has a microphone that hooks up to his jam box or some kind of box that he's got.
There you go.
And they'll stand and cut promos on each. And they're like, "What do you want us to say?" And so I'll say, "Okay, you got if it's Luke, I'm like, all right, Luscious Luke, you've got Dylan the Dominator Saturday night at the Charlotte Coliseum in a cage. 2 minutes, go."
There you
And
go.
and that's what I do. Heartbreaker, Larissa the Heartbreaker. You've got Luscious Luke or Temptation, in a Falls Count Anywhere match in the Omni in Atlanta. 2 minutes, go. That's how my kids have learned. Sometimes they knock them out of the park, and sometimes they get so tickled they can't talk. But it's just something fun.
Okay, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
It's something fun for us, but at the same time, with my kids, and they say they want to get into business, so I'm starting them with one of the most important things they need to learn, and that's how to talk.
Right. I was downloading the video because I'm listening to you say this, and it's amazing how wrestlers should be able to do promos all the time, and that's just me. I mean, it's taught to you from day one. If you go to wrestling school at all, if you're trained by anyone worth their price of admission, they will tell you to get the fans invested. Invest the fans in what you're doing. Make your character believable. And somebody said that in here. If you don't do a promo, who was that said that? I put it up on the screen for a second. But somebody said that, and to me, that's true. There it is right there. Shane said it. Said, because they can't talk, they don't believe their own character. And that shows in the fans. I mean, if I don't see you promo, who are you? If I've never seen you before at a wrestling show and you do a promo for me, I want to go see that guy now. I want to see what that guy's capable, especially if you're a heel.
Right.
Come on there. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you, badmouth a person, just, blah, 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 blast. But I want to see what kind of character you are. You know what I'm saying? That's going to get me invested. That's going to get me to come. And then when you do something to the good guy, cheat him out of a win, I'm going to be invested, and I'm going to go home. And on the way home, look at my wife. Hey, I can't wait to see what the good guy does next week in that match. We got to go back. We've got to go back to this show. Right. And that's what every show should be looking at.
And here's the thing, going back again to the APW days. That's what I learned. That's where I learned to cut promos. That's where Blade learned to cut promos. Is we sat and we watched Chief and we watched Johnny, the IWA, Jay and Johnny Eagle, and Watch E, and some of those guys. Buddy came through and did promos. Ricky Morton was there and did promos. And there were some of the older guys around. Scotty Popper, we talked about him. Jeff Victory could always talk and did great promos. The Ring Lords were there. J.W. Boss could always cut a good promo. Rick Noble was good. Abel Adams was good. Lord, who else? Jeff G. Bailey, one of the managers that came through Chiefs. He probably had more heat than a microwave. I mean, he could turn it on, and he could talk. Dash could talk. Steve and Bubba could talk. A lot of guys, man, that came through. And there were a few guys that would just go, what he said, and so there was those guys too. But we all, and that was the thing back, especially in Shamrock and Chesney. Chief, you've heard me say was a launching pad, but it was a learning. It was like a junior college, and I mean honestly, because you learned from each other. And some of those older guys that were there when I started would pull me and Blade to the side, or and other guys, and say, "Listen, guys, look, your comebacks are too short. You're not selling this long enough. Draw it out a little more. Do this. Slow down in the ring. Don't work so fast." Don't do this, don't do A to get to B. Do it this way. That kind of thing.
Right.
And it all transferred the longer you worked for APW, and when there were other new guys coming in, it was like that just flowed. And so the guys that maybe were leaving, the guys that were there, it was just passed down. And so we took over until the new guys started, and that's what APW really was almost the entire time I worked there, early years anyway. There were so many guys. Sonny Stone is one that was there when I first started. Cougar J, for those that don't know, in the NWA. He was there. He was one, that would kind of pull you to the side and talk to you a little bit. There's been so many guys come through there.
Right.
The Malkies came through. Mike Samani came through. And I know some of these guys, people will know, and some guys, who's that?
Right.
I was there one night, and Samani came in Spartanburg, and some of those guys didn't have a clue who he was, which is sad in my mind, because I'm like, this is Mike Samani, man. He was somebody, and he came around and was talking to everybody, and he got to me, and I stood up and shook his hand, and he just kind of hugged my neck, and he said, "Thank you," because he knew I got it. He knew. And there was a couple other guys in there that stood up and hugged his neck and thanked him, and he thanked them back because it was respect, because we knew who he was. We knew what he did. And that's another thing that's missing. Sometimes, the historical part of this business, a lot of guys don't know. Some of them don't want to know, and that's okay too, I guess. But you got to know where you've been to get to where you're going. And if you don't know, wrestling, when you wrestle, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, because there ain't nothing in wrestling that ain't already been done, or at least close to it. You just got to know how to update it and make it do.
Right. Well, the one thing that I've noticed that, with wrestlers like yourself, I've seen you do promos, and the one thing that you do that gets me invested right away is, wrestling history. So when you're going up against an opponent and that opponent kind of acts like somebody from history, you pull that name out. Well, I see you over there, blah, 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 and you remind me of blah, 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 and you start pulling, and that reminds me of that wrestler, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. You put me back there, and then I'm like, yeah, he does. And okay, now I want to see this kid that you're wrestling. You just put him over. And a lot of people don't understand that you don't have to be put over in the ring. You can put somebody over in a promo. Even if you're a heel, you still want to put the other guy over. You want to put the baby over. You're not going to talk all nice about him, but you're going to give him respect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you got some that will just come on a promo and no respect at all. They just, from the get-go, it's bad, 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 bad. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. Which pulls me to this. I'm going to play one of my promos from when I played my guy in one of the E-Feds, and I want you to tell me what I'm doing good or bad in my promos. We're going to do that in a little while, but I want you to tell me what I'm doing good, what I'm doing bad, and it's going to be a learning experience for me, because I like doing promos. I can't wrestle to save my life because I'm 500 pounds out of shape, can't do nothing. I do this E-Fed thing, and I like doing promos, and I do what you say. There's some times where I'll get up and I'll just grab this Pepsi and I'll do a commercial on this Pepsi as a promo. It helps you. It really does. And then, I'll go and watch a match from years ago, and I'll turn it down and I'll do commentary to that match. Practice being a commentator somewhere in case somebody's not, doesn't show up to be a commentator. I'll sit behind the mic. I have no quorum sitting behind the mic. That's fun for me. So, I mean, there's ways that you can do anything in wrestling if you put your mind to it. And I just love people who do that. And that, to me, and again, I know some people probably saw my rant from earlier, but be original with it. Don't be somebody else. Be yourself. I'm pretty sure that Chris Thunder Anderson isn't a knockoff of somebody else. You're Chris Thunder Anderson.
Right. I mean, I cut my promos now like I've always cut them. I'm a little bit better than I used to be as far as talking, because some of my early promos, oh Lord, I didn't know nothing. So and it's gotten better over the years. There's been a few rotten eggs here and there, but we all have them.
Yeah.
But one of my better ones that I did actually was at APW several years ago. I walked in one night and I'd been running heel for a while, and Chief came to me and he said, "I want to turn you baby." And I said, "Okay," which is not my strong suit, but I said, "All right." He said, "Short." He said, "I'm short, so I need some babies." He said, "And you've always been strong." He said, "So I want you to be, my strong baby." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" He said, "I want you to go out and cut a promo and turn baby."
Just like that. Just on a
And I said, well, I
do it.
looked at him and I was like, and of course, the first thing that popped in my mind was, what am I going to do? Go out there and go, "Hey, folks, I'm a good guy now." I don't know. And he said, "Do it like Wahoo did it." So now I'm really blasted because my mind went blank. I couldn't remember Wahoo ever doing that. And I said, "Chief, you going to have to tell me because I don't know." And he said, years ago, Wahoo went out and they wanted him to turn face. And so he did it in a promo. Nobody jumped him. Nobody ran into him. Nobody ran in out him or nothing. He went to the ring and he simply was talking about his family. And he said, "It's hard." He's, long story short, he was like, "It's hard for me to look my kids in the eye when they say, 'Daddy, why do you cheat? Why do you do all this stuff?'" He said, "It's hard for me to look my kids in the eye." And that was kind of all he said. And he said, "So just do something like that."
And I bet
And I
that
was like,
drew thousands of fans to be like, "Oh, wow, this is awesome."
so I had
He finally saw.
I had about 20 or 30 minutes to contemplate what I was going to say. And I went to the ring in my street clothes, no gear, no nothing. Went to the street clothes. And I forget now who he had interviewing, but he got me in the ring. And they said, "We understand you've got some things you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours." Hand me the microphone backed up.
Right.
And so I just kind of, I've been coming here for a long time. Me and my brother started here talking about Blade, went through, all kind of that history a little bit. Started talking about, and then I let in with, I leave here every week and I get in the car and I start home. And my kids say, "Daddy, why did you hit that guy with a chain? Daddy, why did you choke so-and-so? Daddy, why did you do this?" And that irritates me because I'm telling my kids, "Oh, don't worry about it." But then every week it's something. And I just kind of went the same path and said, and long story short, again, by the time I was done, again, I involved my wife, told everybody, my wife questions why that I have to cheat, to do this. And she encouraged me, "I don't need to cheat. You're good enough where you don't have to do. We don't understand why you do this." I went into all this. Well, in the meantime, I'm one of those guys that if I move too fast, I sweat.
Right.
And so I'm standing in the ring, nervous as I'll get out anyway, because this promo is about 5 or 8 minutes long.
Okay.
And I'm wiping sweat, doing this. I'm wiping my face. My wife starts going, "Oh no." So I didn't find this out until later. So I get the promo done, and this is what happened at the end of my promo. Actually, I got cut off. The Freebirds, New Age Freebirds, Bobby Diamond, Chad Colt, and Dash Whiprock walked out and proceeded to tell me that Ole would roll over in his grave and he ain't even dead yet if they heard his son talking the way I'm talking. And wound up, big match. They hit the ring. I fought them off. The challenge was made, so we came back with the tag match later on. But got in the car that night to leave, and there were several fans who stopped me on the way out and were like, "Man, we're glad you're going to do, you're going to be the guy that we know you could be." All this, and I'm like, "What happened?" So I get in the car, we start home. My wife looks at me and she goes, "Good promo, but why didn't you tell me you're going to do it?" I was like, "Why?" She said, "You had me crying." And I'm like, "Why were you crying?" She said, "I thought you was getting ready to retire." I was like, "No, we're far from that right now." And this was, like I said, this was 15 years ago, probably now.
Right.
But but it resonated and it made sense, and people bought it, and it lasted. for a while until I turned heel again. And then, of course, everybody hated my guts.
Philip Queen said, much respect to Thunder. Been on some shows with him. He is great in the ring and locker room, and respect. He is a man of God and just love for his family. There you go. And Jackson Sane's watching. He said, there's somebody up in the comments said something. They're going so fast over here, guys. I can't put them all up at one time. But he said, thank you for the kind words. I just hope Cooper Housley is preparing for what he is fixing to endure. Jackson Sane just put out a great promo about what happened to him at his pro wrestling and what he's going to do at the next show. And I thought it was awesome. I had to put it up on my page too. It was really good promo. I love Jackson Sane. Now that's a guy right there who took a character and he's making it better and better and better.
He has took something. It's like you was talking about earlier. He has took something that I don't want to say it's been done before, but he's took a gimmick that people have used, say it that way, and he's made it his. Exactly. He's made it his own gimmick. Exactly. And I applaud Jax for that. Jax is a great guy. I like talking with Jax. We've probably talked more in the last couple months than we ever really have since I met him.
And you talk about a guy who does promos. This guy is into his character. I have a show, go back and watch it, where he does 5 promos in a row. This was during COVID, explaining how he became Jackson Sane, the story behind Jackson Sane. And these promos, you're thinking something. He's making you think something all the way through. And then he drops a bomb at the end, and it's beautiful. It is one of the best promo stories I've ever seen in my life. Let me tell you. Jax
is definitely invested in his character, and that's a wonderful thing to do. So kudos to Jax. And I'm glad he's doing better. I'm glad he's ready to make his return.
I heard about that. I just heard about that a couple days ago about what had happened, and then I saw his promo, and I was like, wow, he just turned right around and made what happened at the show part of the story and just kept right on rolling with it. Now that I love.
I was there, saw it happen. It was definitely a scary situation.
I will definitely do that.
I'm glad he's okay.
The page. I will put that show up on my page where it shows those 5 videos. I will find it and I will put it up on my hashtag truth. I'll pin it to the top so people can see it without a doubt. So, I mean, that was some great stuff. But I want you, we got about 10 minutes left. I do promos. I'm going to put my promo up here. I don't know which one I grabbed. I've got about 50 in a folder. I just grabbed one and uploaded it. That's when I accidentally hit Jay Eagle. I was uploading mine. But I'm going to play this promo, and I want you to grade my promo and tell me what's good, what's bad. Now, remember, this is not for real wrestling, so I'm not going to say we're going to this place, we're going to that, but I am a heel bad guy. So this is going to be really fun. This is a couple minutes long probably, but this is me being the brain, and I want you to grade me on it. Here we go.
Oh, it's that time again with the real tag teams. Please stand up. Please stand up. That would be me, the Brain, and Lord Ray Jax. Together, we form the team of Bray Jax. Faded Union, where are you? We haven't seen you, but we're ready to fight. We're ready to get through those ropes. We're ready to throw a few Bray Jax slams your way. We're ready as I put the Brain Buster on you, and as my tag team partner over there puts his finishing move on you. We're all ready to go. We're ready to go deep into this tag team tournament. Much respect to all the others who have come, but line them up. And me and Bray Jax are sure going to try to knock them down. Because we're going to prove once and for all that we are one of the elite tag teams in all of E-Fed Wrestling. 1,000 pounds of lean, mean fighting machines when you put us both together. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't disappoint. We come in. We are the best tag team that Smoky Mountain Wrestling. We're one of the best tag teams that Smoky Mountain Wrestling has to offer. And we're going to sure show the rest of this tournament what Smoky Mountain Wrestling is all about. So, Faded Union, we look forward to meeting you in the ring. We look forward to throwing our greatest and best at both of you. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, No one will forget the team of Brayjacks, win or lose. But trust me, ladies and gentlemen, we are definitely in this tournament to win it all. I see a lot of great tag teams that are here talking and saying what they're going to do. And I like it. I like it a lot because, see, the Brain himself, and I know my partner, Lord Rajax, we thrive on destruction. We thrive on matches there where anything goes. We thrive in tag team tournaments because we've known each other so long. We know where each other's going to be in the ring at all times. Can you all say that? Or are you just a band of misfits that have been thrown together for a tag team tournament? We'll find out once you step in the ring with the team of Brayjacks. And we're going to show the whole world you're not ready.
It was kind of long, but you got to remember this is not for a real show.
The first thing I want to do is go and get a rag and clean something because I want to use Brayjacks on the bathtub. Too close to Ajax, baby.
Fine, Brayjacks, but go ahead.
Hey, I'll be honest. Yeah, other than it being a little bit long, pretty good. Not really knocking it. You know, when you're talking about something like you were talking about as far as being in this tournament or whatever, just more specific kind of stuff. You know, we're going to go through the first round of this tournament, and we're going to take on whoever they show up. So I can't remember the name of the team you said.
Faded Union.
Okay, so Faded Union, we got you in the first round of this tournament, and we're going to run through you. And after that, just it's on any and all comers, boys, because make sure that come to the finals, it's going to be me and my partner against whoever shows up. And boys, at the end of the day, it's going to be us in our ring, standing tall, holding that trophy and that $1 million check that says we are the best tag team in the world. Deal with it. There you go.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I have a tendency to ramble on a little bit, but I get so into the character, I just ramble on. But
I'm gonna tell you, Scott, we all do. We all get wrapped up in our own gimmicks sometimes, and and some of the longest promos you'll do are exactly that. I've always tried to keep it short and simple. That way, I don't start rambling because I'm the worst about doing that. I've got promos where I rambled. I've got promos where I didn't make no sense. You know, and probably couldn't draw flies to nothing. You know, people go, I ain't going to watch that. That guy can't even talk. I ain't going to watch him wrestle. You know, but hey, I thought it was pretty good.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Now let's get back because we only got a few minutes left. Let's get back to the reunion show. Let's show the poster one more time and get back on track here because this is going to be one great show. This Saturday, April 2nd, tickets are $10 at the door. Doors open at 6 p.m. Not 7, 6 p.m. So you can come and see the wrestlers for a little while. Bell time is 8 p.m. American Pro Wrestling presents the American Pro Wrestling Reunion Show, 122 Builders Court, Boiling Springs, South Carolina. All the greats from throughout the years and today will be there. Chris Thunder, Anderson, Stone Mountain, Chief J Eagle, Juvenile Delinquents, Boomer Payne, Ricky Rocket, Steve Stasiak, Eric Anton, Dump Truck, Ice Cream Truck, everybody that's been through I can't even name them all. Chris could probably name a lot more than I could because I've never been. This will be my first show ever at APW, and I'm looking forward to it, man.
What I'm the most excited about is you said the Juvenile Delinquents. Nick Fury and AJ Frost, love those kids dearly. I've watched them mature in this business for 20 years. And they've not tagged in a long time. They were the Juvenile Delinquents, and they've had a mixture of partners. Jeremy, Jay's son, was one. I think Dustin Money has done a little bit with them early on. Not real sure, can't remember exactly. But there was 3. It was AJ, Jeremy, and Nick at one time, and they were the 3 Juvenile Delinquents. Nick and AJ will be tagging tomorrow, Saturday night. And I am looking more forward to that in itself than anything else. And I'm going to be involved with that match and with me and my partner, and I'm not going to give that away. But I'm looking so forward to that match that it's not funny. As long as those two show up, and I've done warned them, I better see some orange jumpsuits come out of somewhere, at least for a little bit. Don't know that I'll get it, but that's okay too. But I'm looking more forward, and I've worked AJ over the years by himself, and I've worked with Nick over the years by himself. But this will be the first time I've got to work with them as a tag team in a really long time. And go back again with some of the stuff that's posted on YouTube that Nick's posted and Chief's posted, and some of those. You can watch some of those old matches back when they did all the high flying and jumping around, and me and Blade pressed everybody out of their shoes and all that, and they took all that, and we took all their stuff. I'm more excited about that match, I think, than I am anything else. I'll just be honest. I can't wait for it to happen.
I'm looking forward to the whole show. There's not one show there's not one match that I and just going in and seeing the wrestlers, even the ones that can't wrestle anymore, just going in and seeing them and hearing the history. And like you said, if you're a fan, if you're a true fan of indie professional wrestling, a show like this is worth way more than what they're asking for at the door. Because, I mean, if you go in and even if you just sit there and listen to conversations going on in front of you, which I'll be doing a lot of, I'll be watching you have a conversation with one of your old friends there, and you guys will be reminiscing about a match, and that's where the Mark in me is just going to sit there and go, yes, I love this. I love this. And I'm going to be doing a lot of that night, without a doubt. And I hope all the other podcasters show up there. I hope I'm not the only one that's there because, like I said, this is a podcaster's dream to have all these wrestlers show up at one spot and all this history and all the stories. I mean, I just want to hear some of them wrestlers talk about the match on the water. That's one I want to hear. I want to hear that story so bad because I've heard it from a few. I've heard it from, Eagle himself, but I want to hear from others who were there, and I want to hear their perspective of the match on the water. And if you don't know what that is, please look it up. I saw the video. It was awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's like that makes shows like this so awesome. And I want to thank Missy for having the idea, Missy and your son for having the idea to do this, because without that, this wouldn't be going on at all, or it wouldn't be going on so soon. And thank you, Missy, for starting this all off. And thank you for asking me to do the poster, the whole 9 yards, and interviewing Jay Eagle for the first time. This has been a pleasure for not only, the fans, but for me too. I'm looking forward so much. I'm so humbled to be at a place with all these wrestlers who have done all this work through the years to make us happy as fans. And it's going to be a tremendous night.
At the end of the day, Scott, it's like we've talked about. We're all one big family when it comes to this business. And so I've got a lot of brothers coming in that I hadn't seen in a while. I'm looking forward to seeing these guys. And again, like I said, there's going to be a lot of stories told and a lot of lies told. You've heard the old expression, these two may fight all night. Well, I'm going to tell you something. With this bunch that's getting ready to show up, with all the guys that's going to get together, we may sit there and lie all night. There ain't no telling.
That's okay.
But it's going to be fun. And if we wind up if Rhonda and Chief cut the lights off on us, we'll just go down the road to Waffle House and we'll keep going.
You know what?
That's how we used to do it. That's how we used to do it. When you were done at APW, you went to the Waffle House.
But Chris, as well as I do, if Chief has an audience, he ain't cutting them lights off, bro. He ain't cutting them lights off. Chief loves to have an audience, and that's not a bad thing. Tell them
Somebody asked me not too long ago how many matches we were going to have, and I said, not a shot at Chief, but we're not going to be there till 1 o'clock in the morning wrestling. So, I don't know exactly how many we're going to wind up with, but that's the part of Chastity we're going to leave out, is we're not going to be there till 1 o'clock or 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, having wrestling matches.
And Missy, you're not allowed to help it upside the head.
If it lasts that long, I'm leaving.
And Missy's not allowed to kick people upside the head like she did back in the Chesney days.
There's no balcony. There's no balcony in Boiling Springs, so she won't be up high enough to kick nobody.
Don't put.
No.
She'll stand up on the guardrail or
Well,
something. Don't put,
she may kick you in the shin. There ain't no telling.
we love you, Missy. We love you. Got to tease you. Missy,
I've warned everybody. You got to watch your working punches because they're stiffer than the real ones.
I love that. Missy said, "Save some room for a Rhonda Bragg hot dog."
That's right.
And
Best hot dogs in the business.
that's right. And Jeff said she does make good hot dogs. And Missy said, "We're going to go to Denny's. We're not going to go to Waffle House." And Jeff Bagwell agreed. He said, Blackwell agreed. He said, "I'm going to go to Denny's too."
Well, good. Then he can buy. Denny's is bigger than Waffle House anyway.
Is that right? Hey, Jeff Blackwell, you buying for everybody? That's what I just heard.
Hey, what is about everybody? He just buy mine.
Oh, okay. I got you. I love it, man. So let's go ahead and give the information one more time before we get out of here. This is going to be one fun night, ladies and gentlemen. American Pro Wrestling presents the American Pro Wrestling Reunion. It's going to be this Saturday night, April the 2nd. Tickets are $10 at the door. Doors open at 6 p.m., so you can come in to see some of the wrestlers before the show. Bell time is at 8 o'clock. 22 Builders Court in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Stick that in your GPS. It'll take you right to the building. I guarantee it. It might take you a funny way, but you'll get there eventually. Chris Thunder Anderson's going to be there. Stone Mountain's going to be there. Chief J. Eagle, of course. The Juvenile Delinquents. We were talking about them earlier. Boomer Payne, Ricky Rocket, Steve Stasiak, Eric Anton, and a lot more. Like I said, Dump Truck and all these others that are on the show tonight. Thank you all for coming on. #Truth. And I can't wait till tomorrow night to see each and every one of you, hear the stories. And whatever I record tomorrow night, come back Sunday, and I will have it put up sometime during the day. I'm going to edit some of it and throw it up, and it's going to be great. I appreciate everybody. Chris, thank you for your time, man, coming on here and telling us all about this.
Thanks, Scott, for all that you've done to help with this as well. I appreciate the time. Guys, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you that show up, and I'm looking forward to not seeing the ones that don't. So just make sure you're there, guys. This is going to be a fun time regardless of how you look at it. Thank you so much, Scott.
Without a doubt. All right, guys. Here it is. This is how we're going to end it. We're going to say #Truth is definitely going to be at American Pro Wrestling tomorrow night for the reunion. See all these wrestlers going throughout the years, the old, the new, the in-between. There's going to be so much history, so much things that are going on. I'm trying to knock things off my wall. I'm so happy. And you don't want to miss it. #Truth is going to be there. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only podcast that's going to be there. We're going to have a fun night, and that is the #Truth.
With Scott Larson.
Love you guys.
We all want to be famous.
There you go.